ultimately, if you want to like grow and you want to like really get past a lot of your challenges, you need to look at what you're giving to the world. You need to be real, okay? That's what today's video is about. Roll the intro. So today I wanted to talk about what the part of like a healing process and a healing journey looks like, and really what like growth is about, okay? So like we all like think about this idea of like growth, of improving, especially in coaching, right? We want to take from the 0 point, we want to get you above that and help you improve, right? So like what does that process even look like? I wanted to talk about that a little bit today, and what like actual like growth and development really looks like. So when you want to grow, okay, there's something that I think needs to be made very clear. Growth is going to be uncomfortable and often really challenging. So if you're in a circle of comfort, like it's going to be really hard for you to actually meaningfully grow. And something else that really needs to be the foundation of today's ideas, guys, is you need to be real, right? You need to bring real, authentic stuff. The realer you can be about where you're at, how you feel, what you're struggling with, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, how you feel about yourself. That is such an important foundation to draw from the get-go. So something I've really noticed with coaching clients and even like how therapists work is like addressing things at depth, okay? So when I talk about being real, is like when we're talking to somebody, we can like share an experience that's been really challenging for us, but share it in a really detached, distant way. So, for example, I tried to make a new friend the other day, and I said this, and they didn't seem interested, and I walked away. Okay, that's like a logical like depiction of the events in the story. Okay, the story's up on the surface up here. Growth doesn't happen in the story. Okay, so what we need to really be aware of when we're trying to make change, trying to make efforts, trying to set goals, trying to move forward, is what are the emotions around it. Okay, so like a lot of my coaching philosophy is that there's something absolutely OP about the foundation that's developed in being honest. So this is why I really focus in a lot of my coaching relationships I develop with clients to build a really long-standing foundation of like honesty and authenticity from me and how I experience the client and you, and like how you're feeling. Okay, so I really believe that it's kind of impossible to open up to other people if like you don't feel like you're on kind of an even level. And I try and really facilitate this by being like honest and authentic with like how I'm receiving people in like a compassionate way. I think this is critical to like actually helping you guys grow. So when a lot of people have this misconception that like if you have like a mental problem or a mental challenge, you like go to therapy, you go to coaching or whatever, and you go in and the therapist fixes you. Okay, or the coach fixes you, and they give you tools of things to do to resolve your problems. So like those are like band-aid solutions in my opinion. Sometimes we need that because like we're in crisis or you're being treated for a certain diagnosis and condition. I can't speak to what medical professionals do specifically, but I think if you are looking for coaching, it's so important to be raw about the things you run into, and that I need to be raw about how I receive them too. So this is like a relational approach. I focus on looking at emotions, emotional wounds, and understanding what that's about. And in my experience, and so much of the research points to this, regardless of the supporting kind of method, whether it's therapy, coaching, the relationship is key. And in that relational approach, we really see amazing outcomes. So this is why I say you need to be really real, because a big part of my own development as a practitioner is being honest with myself. I have another channel where I come in and I talk about my faults and my my wins and my losses and the challenges that I go through and the thoughts that I have from a lot of different levels. And you know, some of that stuff isn't easy to listen to, some of that stuff's boring, some of that stuff's hard. All of that stuff is almost a way to be like to you guys, like, this is the level of honesty we need in like a growth relationship. If you want to grow, you like at your pace, right? You don't have to throw everything down immediately. We need to like build that rapport and help you feel safe. But like ultimately, if you want to like grow and you want to like really get past a lot of your challenges, you need to look at what you're giving to the world. What are your expectations? What do you assume you should be and what you should do? Everything you know is not a given. Okay, everything I know isn't a given. This is why I reflect on things and continually review and assess kind of what's happening for me. When I go through the world in the day, stuff emotionally activates me. And stuff emotionally activates you too. I know that because a lot of the research points that everyone has these kinds of emotional responses to our environment, right? We all get triggered by different things, and I think that word trigger is a bit loaded, but I really think we all get emotionally activated by different environments, how people interact with us. We feel different ways, but we don't have the awareness of what's happening for us emotionally. And this is something I run into when I talk about the feeling of boredom, okay? I've had pushback from people that have been like, boredom isn't an emotion, Will. Like, it's not something you feel. Yes, it is something you feel. Anything in your experience that leads to some kind of reaction in relation to that is an emotion, okay? So even being neutral is like kind of an emotional state. Everything we do is emotion, all right? So when we think about something that's really close to my heart, like tackling addiction, tackling video game addiction, something that's so important in that is connection. You need to feel connected and understood and emotionally held. And a lot of us don't know how that feels. A lot of us don't even know what that's like in the modern world. Because the reality is the world we live in can be really cold sometimes. People don't want to hear how we're feeling. People don't want to give us the time of day. And it hurts to be real, okay? It hurts so much sometimes. But the world is desperate for it. Desperate for connection. Desperate for something real. Okay? That's why you're probably scrolling on your phone now, to look for something that makes you feel again. For something that makes you feel real and connected, okay? And those same circuits in your head are desperate to have your own tribe, to feel connected with something, to feel valued and useful in a community that you're in. This is fundamental human wiring, right? Marketing plays on this. Political campaigns play on this. Every kind of communication and messaging in the world plays on these ideas, folks. And something you really need to understand about if you want to grow in a way that helps you align with your values, you need to be honest about like what's pulling you down right now. What has got what's got its hooks in you? Because like we all have that. We're all exposed to media. We're all exposed to certain kinds of relationships, some healthy, some unhealthy, most of them unfortunately unhealthy. And building healthy relationships, if you want to grow, that has to happen, okay? I'm coming from personal experience here. Like when I used to live with my family, I felt like I had a ton of really unhealthy relationships in my family because I was like living in that family home in my early 20s. We're going like almost 10 years ago now, but when I lived with my family, the dynamic wasn't good and I was stuck. I was stagnant. I was addicted on video games. I didn't want to be part of the world. I didn't want to do anything. I felt like my life was over, okay? So if you take anything from today, you need to work on finding a safe growth relationship. You need to work I'm obviously going to say coaching. I'm biased, right? I think coaching's amazing because I think it focuses on improving you instead of just treating a disorder. But like therapy's great, man, and that's what the process is, okay? Like in a good therapeutic relationship, in my opinion, from somebody who's had a lot of therapy and is training to be a mental health counselor in the UK, I'll be a therapist in a year. We need to understand that all of this comes from an emotional root, okay? Everything we do is there for a good reason. And people that probably suck in your life or are in a hard position as well, okay? They've probably got their own stuff as well. They don't have the bandwidth to be with your stuff. You're not gonna have like relationships that nourish you in that case. So I really encourage you all to like discover relationships where you can feel safe and ask for permission to like share more. And if you don't have that in your life, unfortunately, which is unfortunately increasingly common in the mental health crisis that we find ourselves in, please go and work with some kind of professional or just a good friend that can give you some space, man. Somebody that can let you just feel how you're feeling, because so much of the healing is just being with the feeling, okay? I'm gonna take that slogan on my grave. So much of the healing is being with the feeling. We want solutions when we're in distress. We are in pain, okay? But what we need is to be accepted and understood. And then when we feel safe, take that step into the unknown. And to be in the unknown, we have to be real about what we're good and bad at. And I'm gonna make a whole video about this. But we need to be aware of like what we assume other people need from us, the egos that we have around who we should be and how we should present, and break those rules. We need to break those rules. If you think you're a masculine man who has to provide for the family and do this, you need to like push against that and understand that rule. Because if you do not understand that rule's gonna run you, buddy. That rule is gonna run your life and you're not gonna have any control over it. The rule's gonna control you. And then one day you're gonna wake up and realize you carried on some awful stuff to maybe your kids or people that you love around you because you never looked at that stuff. If you don't look at that stuff, so much is gonna go left unchecked. So, point to round off here. The feeling is where the healing happens. You need to look at the rules you live by for what is you. Get away from the voices of others. Listen to your own voice. And then just be with the feeling. Hopefully be with somebody safe that can facilitate that, because you deserve acceptance. I don't care what you're about, as long as you're not like hurting people. As long as you're not causing pain maliciously and intentionally, like you're good. Like you're good. I promise you, you're good. So that's it for today. I'ma love you and leave you. Thunderhawk Coaching, Will. You've been wonderful. I've been Will. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.